If you want to elevate your daily, weekly or monthly routine when it comes to stuff like self-care, skincare, hair care or just something about maintenance, trust me, after watching this video you will probably be another person. Hi girlies, welcome or welcome back to my channel. It's Evie and today's video will be all about my sort of high maintenance routine. So with that being said, I really hope that this video will be helpful for you guys. And also before we start with the actual video, I just want to say one thing, and that is that I know I do quite a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that all of you have to do the exact same thing. It's just that maybe you want to level up your routine or something, and I'm here for it. By the way, I also have my iPad right here because I've taken some notes about all of my things that I do, because I really don't want to maybe forget anything about it, because it's quite a lot of things, even though it's little things, but I would say all of them are pretty much such a game changer. So first of all, I always apply sunscreen, and this is something I've done since I have been like 14, and literally every time I ran out of sunscreen, because sometimes that does happen, I will not leave the house. Like, I'm really complicated when it comes to that point, but literally I will use sunscreen every day. And that's not because I may have very sensitive skin or something, it's literally just because even me standing here and getting the sunlight, I still get a lot of like UV lighting, and it's not good. And if you want to know why I started randomly doing that when I was 14 years old, it's because I randomly found many people on TikTok that I think aging is affected by sunlight about 90%, so that is the reason 90%. And then the other 10% are stuff like being stressed or just overall actual aging, because obviously aging is normal. And I found lots and lots of images from elderly people that for their whole life, for example, have used sunscreen on their face but not on their neck area. Or for example, people that maybe didn't use sunscreen because back then I think it also wasn't so important. But for example, I think you call them truckers, so literally the men that are for their whole life just having like driving a truck as their job. And as we know, most of the time they do drive quite for a long time, so sometimes I think even for a day or multiple days. But with breaks, I hope. But however, most of them are having their arm kind of outside of their window, especially during the warmer months in summer. And overall, you can see that their arms are aging much faster than obviously the other one that is just not in the direct sunlight. So I always do that. And also, nobody tells you that you have to tan. That's not an excuse. You can literally have pale skin and still like appreciate the features that you already have. You don't have to, but you can. As I'm already talking about my daily skincare routine, I also do obviously skincare twice a day. And in the evening, when I, for example, take my makeup off, or also when I'm not having any makeup on, I always double cleanse my face. And yes, I do have skin that is sometimes breaking out. I don't have completely clear skin under my makeup, but it's still such a big difference, because your sunscreen, for example, has to be completely washed off during the night time, so do that. And also for your evening skincare, try to have a little gap between doing your skincare and going to bed, because when you have just freshly done your skincare and then you immediately go to bed and literally put your face onto your bed sheets that also maybe aren't even fresh washed, then I feel like you will break out much easier, and also it's kind of a product waste, because you're literally just applying it onto your face and then sort of rubbing it onto your pillow. So let it sink in maybe for 30 minutes or 1 hour. I would say that's a good time span. And then you can go to bed and then you can go to sleep. Obviously, I shower multiple times a week, but I still have this kind of everything shower on the weekend. And because of it's only on the weekends, this is what I do on a sort of weekly basis, so most of the time on a Saturday or Sunday. And before I do anything else, I start with dry brushing, and let me tell you, this has changed everything. Because before doing that, I struggled so much with like strawberry legs and stuff, and now I literally don't. And also it really gets off the dead skin on your body, but I don't really know what it is. But if you do dry brushing first of all, in case you have very sensitive skin, just like I do, then I'm pretty much guaranteeing you that you probably won't have this like bloody kind of hair follicle still sticking out. And also, I feel like the skin irritation itself gets just prevented so much if you fully exfoliate your body and get rid of all the bacteria that maybe is still in your pores or something. And also just overall get rid of all the dead skin, because let me tell you, it's a lot. And talking about getting rid of dead skin, I've also seen this kind of routine. I think it's Moroccan or Brazilian, I don't really know, but I have it saved on my TikTok and I really want to get into that. So in case you guys have any experience in this, and maybe you have good experience at best, let me know. So because I want to try it, but I don't really know if it's necessary. What I actually forgot to tell you, but it's also such a game changer, you have no idea. And that's basically, you don't need any expensive body care products. I literally use Nivea, and trust me, that's so good. But you have to use the European formula, and you have to do it on completely dry skin. Because if you want to have the perfect leg routine, just like me, and you want your legs to look sort of like this, then do the steps that I told you. So dry brushing and sometimes exfoliation, then double cleansing, and after that you just regularly shave your legs. And also, in case you didn't know, make sure to do it against the grow direction of your hairs. But I hope that's obvious. And then with the towel, I also kind of exfoliate my skin, which is not that bad, because once your skin gets used to it, then it won't get irritated that easily from all the exfoliation. And as I was saying, I only do that once a week. So if you would do that every day, that would be way too exhausting for your skin. But once a week or every 2 weeks is fine. And basically what I do is I take my towel in both hands, take my leg in the middle, and then I just, you know. And the good thing to also do this after you have done all of your like things in terms of legs or arms or something, while you were in the shower, and then your kind of post-shower routine, is because when you're in the shower, obviously you get lots of moisture onto your skin. Basically, it will be so much easier to just get off the dead skin, and trust me, the results are kind of shocking once you're doing this kind of thing with the towel, because there's a lot of dead skin coming off. You have to change your bedding. This is also something that I've mentioned earlier, kind of, but you just have to change it, and I would say at least every 3 weeks. If you don't do this every 3 weeks, I'm sorry, but that's literally so gross. But I would say every 2 weeks, or maybe even once a week. But you don't have to necessarily do this literally every week, because if you want to, you can, but I understand if you don't want to do that. But 2 weeks or 3 weeks, definitely. Now, another really essential thing that I also do on a weekly basis, as I was saying, this video is kind of on a budget, and I don't really love gel nails or something, so I have my fully natural nails. As you can see, they seem to be not as big, but just look at how much longer they are compared to my actual fingers. It's just that the general nail area that I have on my fingers is very, very small. It's pretty much a square. So and I think a reason for that is also because I used to bite heavily on my nails as a kid, and since like 3 years or 4 years or something, no, I think 5 years, I stopped that and do some nail art on them. At the moment I'm living quite minimalistic, but yeah. And the reason I'm only showing this hand is because both of my fingernails literally broke off, and look at my fingers without nails. Like, do you guys also sometimes have this kind of hand dysmorphia? Anyways, but I do nail care also every Saturday or Sunday right after I came out of the shower. I've also done a nail care video on my Instagram, but basically what I do is I sometimes do an oil bath with olive oil and just leave my nails in there for like, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes. But I don't do this every time, maybe also like every 2 to 3 weeks, or maybe even once a month sometimes. So then I leave it in and then I kind of reshape them. And also when shaping your nails, it's very important that you don't just do this movement, so back and forth, but rather try to make it in one direction. And I know this will take obviously much longer, but trust me, it's so worth it, because this will also prevent breakage, because you don't have that much, like, what's it called? And then I just go in with a nail hardener and also a base coat. And after that I just apply my regular nail polish. This is the one that I'm having on currently. You already saw that, but now you have seen it again. And I don't know, I really want to do some nail designs, which I used to do back then, but I don't know, I haven't been as creative anymore, at least when it comes to my nails. But yeah, I try to always keep them in this length. This kind of sucks because for some reason it takes forever that these are growing, which I don't know why. What I do on a weekly basis in terms of hair is, for example, I like to do a leave-in mask. So my hair mask is part of my everything shower, and I'm normally just going in with this one and then I just leave it in for like, I don't know, 5 minutes or something. It's set to only leave it in for, I think, 2 minutes generally for hair masks, but I don't know. Moving over to the things that I do on a monthly basis, and I can already tell you there aren't that many things, because most of the things I'm doing on a weekly or daily basis, so there's not really the need to do anything on a monthly basis. But the main things that I'm doing are, for example, doing a kind of DIY hair mask. Most of the time I'm doing it with stuff like honey, or for example I put rosemary water into my hair, or maybe a rice mask or rice water after washing my hair. This you can also do, and just rinse it through your hair once it's still like wet, so when you're still in the shower. And the same also goes with rosemary water. You can do it before but also after. You don't have to necessarily like wash it out. And then I also exfoliate my face. And the reason I only do this monthly is because, again, you don't want to stress your skin too much, because that would be way too overstimulating, and I have very sensitive skin already, so I do this once a month. Sometimes I'm also shaving my face, because as many of you know, I am almost half Greek, and sometimes the body hairs, they are intense. But yeah, we're trying to avoid that. And talking about body hair, as you can see, my arms have nearly no hair at all. I'm shaving my arms as well, and obviously I'm also exfoliating them once a week, but I'm only shaving them once a month, because even though I normally have lots of hairs on my arms, not as much, but I would say a little bit more than the usual, compared to my other body hairs, especially on my face or on my legs, for example. My arm hair is growing pretty slow, so only once a month. And also after 1 month it's already like kind of visible. But the good thing is, even though I have like brown hair naturally, so some sort of light brown, on my arms it's literally blonde, so it's literally my skin color, but you can kind of see it, you know. Oh, and after exfoliating my face, I also do a facial mask. I also sometimes do this a little bit more often, so like every 2 weeks, but I feel like my skin doesn't really need facial masks because it's already pretty well naturally, but also because of things like nutrition and skincare. And for this I either do also self-made hair masks or just some that I found on the drugstore. These are some that I can really recommend. And that's basically it. And that's it with today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it and that it was helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. Love you, bye!